DruStyles.com, what up? This is DruHa representing DuckDown Records, DuckDown Music. We're here at Guitar Center for the Illmind and Skyzoo live from the Tapedeck listening session.
Speakers on blast, speakers on blast, speakers on blast, speakers on blast.
It's like a cool event that we put together for the listening event, and we came in here with a retail giant like Guitar Center. We were able to do an intimate listening session for this album live from the Tapedeck.
The album only has like 2 records with samples, and this is one of them. You know, we went in there consciously not wanting to do a lot of samples, but still made an album that sample lovers could still love, even though it's no samples. We're in a different age, everything is digital. This age group is different now. They don't really know or respect the sample as much as we did, but you still gotta connect to them. You can't be stupid and just be like, yo, if you don't get it, you ain't on real hip hop. I think the quote is like overused. I'm really over that quote. So we wanted to consciously not use a lot of samples, but this one I was like, yeah, I want that. Like sample or no sample, I want that. And with the record, the idea actually came off of Twitter, you know, because with the followers that I have on Twitter, you know, it's some girl followers on there and all that. And a lot of times girls will be like, yo, I love Easy to Fly, I love Under Pressure, I love, you know, You and Me. Like they point out the records I did through my career that was for them. So I wanted to make sure, you know, they had something on here, but I still wanted to make sure the bars was crazy. And, you know, that was how this one came about. And it's pretty much just having fun with it, but just talking, obviously, to the females, but still barring it out crazy. And there's certain lines like, yo, get, where it's like, yo, he still kept the pen involved. No matter what, because if you make a chick joint, that doesn't mean they got to be sappy, it don't mean they got to be corny, it don't mean they got to be, you know what I mean? Like, you can't be lyrical, like, you can still get busy on it and make it appeal. I.e. why people like Easy to Fly and Under Pressure and records like that. So that was my standpoint on that one.
Yeah, like Skyzoo said, this is one of the few records that actually has a sample in it, and it's just a basic soul sample that I chopped up, did some filtered bass, and let it ride. That was it. So let's go.
Yeah, I know what I'm all about. I'm all about what shorty like. Shorty like me alone and neon 9-5s, and I be all about that. So I be on the side admiring what it be like. I be on the high, but she flying up the center with my name at. I'm trying to name that, but for now she's all about. And my style ain't to stick to her now or call her out, but a room might move if given the opportunity.
So the next record, it's funny how this came about. It's called Bower Brothers, featuring my man Torre, who's in the back over there. Shout out to Torre in the building. The way it came about, I was on tour with Raekwon, and me and my man DJ Prince, we was out on the road, and people was coming up to me like, yo, when is Bower Brothers dropping? And I was like, what? Like, what's Bower Brothers? And it was like, you and Torre, y'all album coming out. I was like, really? Like, I didn't know that was happening. It was like, yeah, it was online. So I Googled it and searched it, and it was on my Wikipedia page, like, Bower Brothers with Torre coming soon. And I was like, for real? Like, I got real fans, because somebody went on there and made that up and put that there. So that was kind of fly. Like, I thought that was cool. So I hit him up and told him, and we laughed about it. It was like, yo, you know, maybe one day, but it was not what we really thought about. And me and that guy's with each other every day. You know, we got like 100,000 records together, but we never really thought about a whole Red and Meth type of thing. But when we saw that, we just thought it was funny, let it go. And then when it was time to do the project, I was like, yo, I want to do a record for the album. He was like, I bet. And he was like, what you want to call it? And I was like, Bower Brothers. He was like, dude, you're horrible, dude. He was like, you're going to crash the internet. And I was like, yeah, you know me, like I'm super sarcastic. So yeah, Bower Brothers, let's fuck with him. So we did this record. Came out amazing. As soon as I heard the beat, Illmind played this one beat. I was like, dude, you don't even gotta play no more. Like, this is that beat. Did the record, and you know me and Tor got a lot of records together, but this one is different from any other record we've done. And when you hear it, you'll get why. It's just an awesome spitting record.
Yeah, this is actually one of the few beats that's a little bit older. I did this beat back in 2003. So it's got my older sound, I guess, because with me, like I get bored quick, so like I go through a lot of phases and transitions with the type of sound that I like to play with. So this is more of my kind of older shit from 03. So here we go. What shit is still banging though. Okay.
Anticipation through the roof, bigger basements with bigger tables for scraping up the roof. Get it shaking if they've been waiting to pay for this and tools. Clock working for the purchase and labeled it much.
But at the same time, you can either, like my man Tay said, you really want to win or you look good losing. You know what I mean? So me being a super sports fan, super basketball fan in particular, I followed the LeBron situation like it was Jesus. Like every day I was on it, like newspapers, online, TV, you know, everything. And when he made the decision, I think I'm the only person that's not from Miami that wasn't mad at him. That was like, yeah, like he made the right move. Because at the end of the day, you could be looked at as great, you could be looked at as the best or one of the best, but you came in as the win. And if you're not winning, at some point you gotta be like, yo, what do I have to do? So in music it's the same thing. And I look at it like, you could be looked at as one of the best lyricists and underrated and, you know, all that, you know, better than everybody else, but just didn't get a shot or whatever, and that's cool. But when you're a little kid rhyming, no matter if you grew up on Pete Rock and Dilla, or if you grew up on, you know, Swiss Beats, or if you grew up on Polo the Don, when you're a little kid coming up, when you start rhyming, you want to win. Like, nobody rhyming says, I want to be underrated. I want to come out and be underrated and not sell because I'm that dope. You know what I mean? Like, nobody does that. Everybody who gets in this, whether they all about boom bap in the 90s or if they about auto-tune, they want to win. Because it's like at the end of the day, you want to win. You know what I mean? You don't want to be watching everybody else winning on TV and shining and all that. And you're great and everybody knows you're great, but you just ain't get there and you underrated. Like, that's never your goal. You know what I mean? So the album is sort of like a crossroads or like a potential transition that I may make where I'm never going to lose who I am lyrically and what I'm about musically. But don't be mad if I, you know, not use a bunch of sample beats all the time. Or don't be mad if I make a speakers on blast with an 808. You know what I mean? And that record was sort of a crossroads reflection of that. So, yeah, Winner Circle.
Sky said it all. I have nothing to say right now.
I always had this idea for a while. I never got to do it, but I had an idea where if you had to tell a story through painting a wall, like doing a mural like graffiti, how would you describe the story as far as what you're painting? Because I came up as a graph head. Like when I was in school, I think I had more markers than books in my bag. Like I was a graph head, you know what I mean? I used to be on the A train, tagging up, going crazy. I was 14, 15, I used to go nuts with it. So I was like, what if you told a story as far as whatever you describe, whether it's your hood or whatever's going on or whatever, what if you told a story like if you was painting a mural and you was like, yo, I need black paint for this, and I need brown paint for that, and I need white paint for this, like you was describing what you was going to paint on the wall. So I was like, yeah, we might have to, you know, revisit that idea. I had the idea for like 3 years, but I never pressed it. But I heard the beat when Illmind was just playing beats, and when I heard that beat, I was like, yo, that beat is that story. So I was like, yeah, it's time to write this and put it together.
Yeah, and it worked out because when, you know, when I approach music or when I'm in the studio, I always subconsciously attach a visual to the music that I'm making, whether it's a painting of colors or a scene in a movie or a place that I'm at. So when he picked that beat and we were talking about the concept, it made complete sense to me because I began to see what the beat meant. And you know, you just, like Skyzoo said, you picture Krylon and you picture, you know, New York City in the 70s and 80s with the graffiti all over the subways and everything. So it worked out.
Bottom of the wall, light brown in the background, 20 stories tall, blue and orange for the welcoming, letters on the drawer, need another can of brown and then yellow for the stars.
Silver hops out, you know, charcoal calibers, silver hops out, and burgundy the parameter, running through burgundy cans, I can't keep one, try painting the high ups but I can't see them. So right there I'm like describing like a potential murder where it's like, obviously the charcoal caliber is the burner, the silver hops out is the bullet, the burgundy spread around his blood, and then I'm running through burgundy cans, I can't keep one, like this is all I'm painting because it's all I see. You know what I mean? So and then the second verse gets real intense where it talks about the girl being on the hop and, you know, she go out there and get on the stroll and then do braper, and then at the end it all ties in, you know, and I'm like a green and white Metro card. Everybody from New York know green and white Metro cards mean you in high school. So Shorty was that young out there on the stroll. So just tying it all together and trying to stick with the theme of like, if I had to paint a wall of what I know, it would be that. You know what I mean? So the next record is, if I know the track, that's right, it's Kitchen Table. This is definitely Illmind's finest 16. Yeah, this is definitely his finest 16. And with me, I mean, with the records, you know me, you know what I do. If you know the Salvation, you know records like Shooter's Soundtrack, Metal Hearts, like a Marathon, For What It's Worth, you know those records where I talk about a certain thing that goes on where I'm from. So with this, it's more that, it's more grime music, it's more provided, but it's pretty much like at the end of the day, doing whatever it takes to make sure the kitchen table is straight. Because no matter what it is we doing, like that's all it's about, is making sure the kitchen table is straight. So I just simply named the kitchen table, and when you hear it and what I'm doing, you know, you'll get it more, but it's definitely more of that, whatever it takes, hustle, grime music, or whatever you want to call it. And as far as the beat,
this is probably one of my favorites on the album. I had a lot of fun with this beat because I took a really layered approach to it. You know, I started, when you hear it, I started with a simple piano riff, and I just started to layer it with different things, and I was able to kind of take it into different, you know, chord progressions. So I had a lot of fun with it. And you know, as Skyzoo said, you're gonna hear my 16 at the end.
kitchen table.
We're happy to be here right now. Everyone's checking the album out. Illmind produced the whole thing. It's coming out in October. Skyzoo, whoever got the salvation, they already know what he's doing on the microphone. The Illmind connection, he's done a lot of tracks for us. He's produced a lot of different records for us over the past 4 or 5 years on DuckDown. Things you may not even realize, like going back to the Boot Camp albums. He's produced tracks on Sean Price's album. Then he did like 4 tracks on the KRS and Buckshot album. So it was like a thing of having Skyzoo and Illmind, and then bringing them together, saying, yo, this would be incredible if we could put a whole project together, and that's what we did. So hopefully you got to hear some of the album tonight, like what you heard, and we're going to keep it coming. It's coming out in October.